Do you want to do your oil changes in under 10 minutes? In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm able to do my oil changes in under 10 minutes, show you component location, and even time how long it takes for me to do the oil change, so that way you can see it can be done in under 10 minutes. I'm also going to show you the tools that I use, and you'll be able to adapt that to your situation. Let's get into it. So the things we're going to be using is a very large funnel for putting the oil back in, a 13 litre oil pan, so that way when I drain the oil it's got enough to catch it, because it will drain roughly around about 9.5 litres. A Phillips screwdriver for removing a cover for the oil filter, a 13mm socket and ratchet to remove the sump plug, a 27mm socket, a uni-joint and a long extension bar to get the oil filter housing off, a bucket to put the old oil filter in, and some rags to put down so the oil doesn't drop, the filter itself, and oil. The way that you speed up getting this oil change done is making sure everything's prepared to go before you even start. So I'm going to show you what I do to prepare things to get it ready. I start by removing the cover for where the oil filter housing is. There's just 3 screws that go along here, and I just drop that flap down so that way that's exposed, so that way I can get to it really quickly. And I'm going to pack some rags under there so that way no oil drips down. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the funnel so that way I can fill it straight up. So I'll just take off the cap and leave the funnel in the entrance for the oil. That way the oil can be ready to pour straight away. I'm not going to jack up the car, but I've put the oil pan in place to get access to the sump plug. That way I can drop it straight out and it's going to be there to ready to go. I've got the oil filter cartridge ready to go, and I've taken the O-ring out of its packet. I'm also going to get a small flat blade screwdriver ready so that way I can pop off the old O-ring off the housing and put the new one straight on when I take the filter housing off. Just one thing I forgot to mention is make sure you warm up the car just a little bit before you do the oil change. That way it'll make the oil a little bit more runny and it will get out a bit quicker. You don't need to get all the oil out, but just get the majority out. If you leave it too long and get every last drip, it'll drain the oil pump and you won't start the car again. So there's going to be some pretty bad film work while I do the oil change, but I'll do a voiceover so that way I can explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So let's get into it. What I've done is I've cracked the nut, but I haven't started timing yet because there's no oil dropped yet. So this is where you can also save a little bit of time. I'll start the timer once some oil starts to drop. Go! No! So what you saw there was I dropped the sump plug into the oil bucket. It's just one of the few things that I did to slow me down. That's why I get close to the 10-minute mark. So what I'm doing here is taking the old filter out, replacing the filter element, replacing the O-ring on the filter housing, and refitting it. When I took this out, there was still a fair bit of oil in the housing and it dumped on the ground. So you'll see that spill a little bit later. So now I'm just tightening it up by hand, then using a ratchet to nip it up. You don't do it up too tight, just until it's nipped up. Now I've just fetched the sump plug out of the bucket and fitting it back off. I managed to get oil all over my hands because I had to dive into the bucket. But, you know, it's one of the joys of the job. Once you finish doing it up by hand, you can see my cleaning the oil off my hand. Hopefully you don't have to do this. Just tighten it up with a ratchet just so it's firm. There's a washer there. You can replace the washer if you so wish. Now I'm just topping up with oil. I had to fit the attachment to the bottle. I forgot to do it before I started. It's another place that I lost some time. Then I realised that it's just slowing me down. So I took it off anyway. I had a big enough funnel that I could pour it straight in. So that sped things up a little bit as well. So you might learn from that. Now I'm just going to check to see the oil level, make sure it's all good. So really you could say that it's finished at this point. but there's still more to come, so keep watching after this. So I got it done in 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Probably a bit quicker than that, but that was with all the problems I had. So as you can see, I was able to do the oil change in under 10 minutes. That was even with complications. So what you can see is I made an incredible mess. Learn from this. Put spill mats down. I was just lucky that I was cutting up firewood earlier and I had some sawdust laying around. So you could always put that oil is from when the oil filter came out.